I'm honored to introduce to you a woman whose courage, clarity, and commitment to justice is changing the landscape of Cameroon and inspiring the world.
Freedom of speech become a matter of survival. You have to fight to have a place. You have to fight to be heard. You have to fight to make people accept my choices.
Cyrille Rolande Bechon is the executive director of Nouveaux Droits de l'Homme Cameroun. She's a fierce human rights activist whose work spans over 15 years, fighting for the rule of law, democracy, gender justice, and the rights of those whose voices are often silenced.
We are not employees, we are activists. We do this because we have a vision. People need us here.
She has faced everything from systemic injustice to direct attacks on her organization, having lost years of work in a devastating break-in and cyber attack earlier this year. But even in the face of destruction, Cyrille stood tall, rebuilt, and continued her mission.
They take everything, but they didn't take our passion, they didn't take our heart on what we are doing.
Her story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of women leaders shaping a new world. Join us as we journey through the life, passion, and relentless activism. Her fight is not just for Cameroon, it's for all of us. This is Cyrille Rolande Bechon. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Women of Agents of Change Around the World podcast series. I am your host, Liza Florida, and this series is brought to you in partnership with the International Peace Bureau and 8 Billion Podcasts. And today, in this 9-part series of incredible women and agents around the world, I bring to you Cyrille Rolande Bechon. So welcome, Cyrille, to the podcast series. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Lisa, for hosting me. Thank you. It's a privilege to take part to this podcast for Women Changemaker. I'm feeling very great and happy to be here, and also feeling honored to be part of this. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. And yes, I'm ready to share everything.
You're ready to share your story. Cyrille has an incredible story. And first of all, I'd like for you to just share with us a brief background of the work that you do.
My background, first of all, I am born in Yaoundé, in Cameroon. I was raised here in Yaoundé, where I make my whole life of study before I became an activist. But before I become an activist, I firstly start to have a diploma in management, because that is where, my family asked me to do. But since they didn't have a lot of money, I have to stop school to find for a job. And later on now, I went back to school to have my master's degree in law, in rule of law and human rights, while on the field of human rights. So I learned human rights first before I went to school on human rights. I started my activism, work on this, on justice, on human rights. And when I feel that I need to have something else than just working on this topic, I need to, to know more about human rights in the academia and something new about it. So I took it as a challenge. And then I went back to school and I have my master's degree, and then I registered for a PhD. So that is almost my background personally. But now in the field of human rights, what do we do, like everyday work? Everyday work is about rule of law, the respect of rule of law and democracy principle in Cameroon, because the organization is a pro-democracy organization that was built in 1997, but I joined the organization in 2008. So the mission of the organization is to promote and protect the rule of law and democracy principle in Cameroon. So in this area, we work on the shrinking of civic space, we work on the elections, fair and transparent election. We work on democracy governance. We work on the freedom of public freedom and, all what related to democracy in Cameroon. We also work to give legal aid to victims of violence. That is where we receive people in need, because we have a lot of victims looking for justice. So we help them to litigate their cases, to give them accompaniment, to go to court and to go to ask for justice also. And for all of this, we also do a lot of advocacy for reform in this area. We work on a lot of documenting reports where we report on human rights violation, all violation. We work on Anglophone crisis, on Boko Haram, on sexual and domestic violence, on many different specific violence in which we think that it is necessary to have more data, because this is in need of data of concrete facts, to carry the advocacy on to ask for change. In our strategy, you can't ask for change, you can't do a good advocacy if you don't have core data and real facts to support your cases. So that is what we do. And then you also work on a lot of awareness, citizenship, and community engagement, because there is no human rights without population, without people to whom, right exists. Because what is on the field, people don't know in Cameroon. I mean, it's in many countries also, people don't know what are their rights. That is why we see a lot of arbitrary, a lot of violation also. So we work on advocacy, education, awareness, sensitization, and everything. Youth, in university, in schools, in communities. Yes, I mean, that is the thing. And then we also work with local leaders, because we have a society where you have different actors. Like we still have the huge impact of traditional rulers in the community. You have the role of religious leaders. You have all these other actors involved that we work with them in this work of advocacy and also in this work of awareness, because what we look at the end is how we mitigate, how we impact really change in the community. So the idea is not to confront, but the idea is really to bring this dialogue, to bring the conversation, sometimes about difficult topic, also sometimes about difficult, matter in the community, like in local and in national level. Yeah, that is what I can say.
I'm so deeply honored to actually bring forth this podcast series because these women are incredible. And she's like, that's all. but there's so much that has gone into the work of Cyrille's in terms of her professional life, you're also the director, correct, executive director of Nouveaux Droits de Cameroun. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I told Cyrille that I would use my French in this episode to entertain all of you guys. And so what I'd like to do, excuse me, is, I always like to take the women back to childhood because it's what kind of shapes how you move forward in terms of the direction in your profession and the passions that you have. You've spoken so powerfully about the injustices and witnessed growing up in Cameroon. Can you take us deeper into a moment that made you say, I have to do something?
Yes, as I tell you at the beginning, I was born and raised in a large family, because my father was a polygame. I don't know if you know that in US, the man here can have many wives.
Yes.
So my father had 3 wives, and him himself, he was the head of a biggest family, because he had to take over the place of his father, he was a traditional ruler. So you can imagine that we have a very big and large family. So from there, I face our children. You know that in traditional society, your point of view don't count. You just have to follow, norms, tradition, what is inside there, just follow them. So I have to fight. I have to share to fight, to find a way to share what is my opinion, what I want people to understand. And also, my father, in the context of polygamy, sometimes in traditional society, mothers, are the one to take care of everything for their children. So that is where I started, my activism, because I had to sue my father in front of the family one day. I was like, I have something to say against you. Despite the fact that we have a very good relation, but I have my first prescription of glasses very early, like 15 years. And he was like, you don't have money to pay. And my mother have to try everything to give me. I said, no, I will show to the family. In traditional society, also in my tradition, big families had specific area like the family meeting where you can bring your case. You can So I started there. I bring my father to the case, and there was a discussion, and all the people decide how he will go about it. And this is where this thing started. It was like, I know you are a rebel. You don't, it's difficult to handle you, but we stay with, and then also he himself, he faced a lot of abuses.
Yeah.
After, an arbitrary, he lost his job and then he was arrested. And how I feel all these things, I was like, everything has to be done. Somebody can't just do what he wants for another person, and you don't have anywhere to complain. I was sharing how this commitment, this what you face some kind of situation in while you are just beginning your life as an adolescent. This kind of stuff, stay in your head, and you grow up thinking about the fact that something has to be done. It's not possible to just, accept this kind of stuff. That is how I started. So I'm the kind of person, when I have something in my head, I have to say it. I will have to do it. I have to do something. How I will go about it, I don't know, but I will find a way to put it somewhere and somehow. So that is how, the thing went. Yeah.
Yes, what I noticed, Cyrille, is that and just to share with the audience, I did a lot of introduction meetings with all of the women before actually recording this podcast. And one of the things that I really noticed was many of them from such a young age already had this innate ability to speak for themselves, or really felt there needed to be some type of equality. They could sense deeply that there were injustices around them. And it was really interesting how many of the women, if not all, really have that same sense of really seeing and speaking out for themselves. With that, you mentioned that freedom of speech is very sacred to you. How do you maintain that sense of inner freedom in the face of constant external threats?
For me, freedom of speech become a matter of survival. Really become a matter of survival, because in the family, you have to fight to have a place. You have to fight to be heard. You have to fight to just, share your point of view, because I don't know if you really know what we call traditional society in Africa. And really, when you are inside it, like you are the girls of a traditional ruler itself, you can imagine how it can be, the life can be difficult in all these norms, and how you navigate in all this. So, and I have in the course of my life, I face a lot of problem. A problem because, like, I have my first child before I get married.
Yeah.
You know that in traditional, life, this is not acceptable. So I have to tell them, this is my problem. I will deal with it as I want. I don't need you. So that is where, when you start your life and you have to fight for your view, for your choices, you are tough. It's like, so for me, I grew up fighting to be heard, fighting to make people accept my choices. So at the end of the day, it become a matter of survival. It become a way of life. It become normal. So everything you can say or talk, really, I just keep to what I'm thinking and what I think is good for me first. I
Right.
I use people to decide what can be good or not. So for me, that is maybe it's this force that maintain this engagement about the public speech. Because when you know that you have to do that, if you don't do that, everybody will come here and tell you what to do and what you don't, what is not your right, what is good or not. It's like, no, please stay away from me. I just need space to do what I want to do. So that is how, I keep this spirit in me.
And that is really such a great spirit that's emerging from you at such a young age, right? Because her ability to really question what's right and um, then to really speak up for it, and then to really understand that you have the right to speak up for it. So you displayed that even such at a young age. Um, what I wanted to ask you next is, what are the most urgent human rights violations you're seeing in Cameroon right now?
You know that there's Cameroon, we have widespread human rights violation because of the authoritarian nature of the regime in Cameroon. We have a 92 years old president after 43 years as a president of the republic. So power with no sharing, and he's standing for next election. Maybe you don't have the best one. He's standing for the next election in October. You can imagine. So in this context, we are in the center of the dictatorial regime. So core violation are the shrinking of civil space. You can be arrested and detained like anytime, anywhere without any explanation. You will have torture. Cameroon still has systematic torture in detention. We have, a lot of embezzlement of public funds. We have huge corruption. I mean, I think Cameroon is rated like one of the most corrupt country. We have, if you see Transparency International um, classification or Reporters Sans Frontières, Press of the Freedom in Cameroon. Cameroon is about the last, country in press freedom and also in the protection of civic space. So this is what we face. We also face conflict. You know that we have since 8 years to 2016 conflict around separation in Anglophone region. Also, even this conflict started because of human rights violation, because of discrimination. So we have this. We have also terrorism because of Boko Haram. We know that Cameroon shared it's more than 700 meter square border with Nigeria. So we share a long border with Nigeria, the area where Boko Haram is active. So what we look at in all this conflict, terrorism or conflict, is the question of human rights, is the question of the rule of law, is the question of the respect of human dignity. We also look at violence against women and girls because, domestic violence and sexual violence are criminal offenses. But what we see since 5 years or so in Cameroon with feminicide and others, rape and sexual violence, we think that something has to be done, and the state are not doing anything about it. And we really see a lot of girls, women who really can't do anything because of violence. So all these, we also, as I said at the beginning, working around access to justice for victims, because you have laws, you have a judiciary system that is not independent. So you need to try to find ways to give relief, but also to advocate for change, because what we have, our power is how can we advocate for reforms everywhere, reforms of laws, because but we have bad laws, we have bad policy. In fact, it's bad for us, but for the regime, they are normal because they use it to oppress, they use this to silence people, they use it to torture, to do what they do. But in the other side, Cameroon has ratified a lot of instruments, but the reality, the effectivity of these human rights on the field is another world. If I show to you how many people we have cases who died after torture in custody, if we show case of rape where victim can't have even justice, you can imagine somebody's recognized to have raped a child, but it's no charge. It can be released the day after. So all this, that is what really we work every day, how we keep this regime accountable of human rights violation.
Cyrille, how do you balance then the immediacy of the crisis? You know what I mean? Because you have so many, I'm assuming you have so many cases brought forward to you. How do you balance the immediacy of the crisis response? Like, how does it get prioritized, in other words?
No, the priority for me is the advocacy. How? Let me explain.
Good.
Each case, the case we handle is a case of human rights violation. That means that we've used the case to advocate. We use the case to show how what we are talking about is true. Like when I say that there's not access to judicial assistance in the justice system in Cameroon, I took the case of this small girl, 4 years girl who were raped, and then we asked for this judicial assistant, and the judicial assistant was refused to the girl. So I used this decision to show that Cameroon are not complying with human rights obligation, and that is why we're asking for advocacy for reform. So for me, it's like the same thing. Like when I have a decision like today, tomorrow I have a statement or something about the decision or about what happened. Like the case of this guy, I handled a case that really touched me personally, because the guy was a 30 years old young man who was arrested in a situation where another youth was murdered. But in this case, and how everything was put is like the judicial system was just looking for somebody to blame, not to find for the real murder of the other guy. So we had a case where this guy was have in 2010 sentenced to 20 years of prison with a huge fine for nothing without investigation. And then we use that to demonstrate that there's something not good in this decision. So we have an analysis of the decision. We say the president of the court of the appeal of the center, where we demonstrate that there were no investigation about before this sentence, that too many things happen so that this is not a sentence you can have in this case, because there's nothing proving the implication of the guy. The Court of Appeal finally accept to have a non-judicial investigation on the case, because media took our position. It was really, a national level, everywhere, headlines and everywhere. Do you know what? At the end of the Court of Appeal investigation, non-judicial investigation, they called me and they said we were right. There's too many things not, binding in the first process who ended with the sentence. Can you imagine the end of the story? The end of the story is that after 15 years of detention, the guy was released for non-funded fact. 15 years. Yeah, the guy was released after 15 years. And that is one case that I follow. I work on it without knowing the guy. I saw the guy the first time when the guy was released after the Court of Appeal decision. You can imagine how we can have too many persons like this that we don't handle every cases, the cases that we have. That shows that there's something to do. And when we have this case, have a lot of implication because we have the minister having a statement, the judiciary having a statement on it. But everybody was like, this is the work of Nouveaux Droits because there was a loan. And at that time, I even had, a threat that we are supporting a criminal, we are doing this, we are doing that. But, that is where I want to demonstrate that advocacy, immediate cases, in my way of saying things, are the same thing. Because we use, while looking for relief for victims, we use those data to fuel the advocacy work.
Correct.
When today I'm saying that there is no access to judicial assistance in Cameroon, I don't talk a lot. I just take cases and decisions we had, and I show you that this is the thing. So you don't have to ask me a lot of questions because I'm working with cases, with facts, that this is the letter we sent to this because of this case. This is real case, not like something, it's not theory where you just make a report about something. So how we use, immediate cases for advocacy, for me, it's linked because yes, advocacy, yes, for sure, you can make a judicial analysis of something and have conclusion. But what we really do here is really to rely on cases, on real situation, to demonstrate and to show how, the gravity of the situation and how people are dying or suffering with the system or with norms and policy in place.
Wow. I mean, it's exactly what you explained. Not only are there cases that are brought about to you, some, of course, you're very personally passionate about. And that was an incredible case for sharing. And within also the example of using advocacy for that case. Now, you just mentioned a few minutes ago that sometimes you're in the face of attacks. And Cyrille, I'm, in the audience, I'd like for you to share actually that you have experienced an example of that just even this year in 2025. So if you don't mind taking us through that, I feel it's very important to share with the audience so they understand the level of the environment and how you put yourself at risk in taking some of these cases, or even in just your work.
To be honest, this work is difficult because you have to think, to give response to people, to victims, and sometimes you see you face threat from others because in the context in Cameroon, people, they want to cover violations. Sometimes in police, in gendarmerie, they want to cover themselves as colleagues, as judges, and this kind of stuff. So you have to go through a lot of difficulty to get something. sometimes it's like you just said, like, Cameroon is for all of us. Why are you using your position to oppress another? What are you using your power not to do your work normally, but to do your work against or to oppress a citizen like you? So, to be honest, after the attacks in January and February, at the beginning of the year, the attacks was huge. First of all, I feel anger, I feel irritated, but and then I feel tired because it is situation in the history of human rights organization in Cameroon. The last this kind of attacks happened in 1990 when people were fighting for democracy, for this kind of stuff. So it was pretty, new, like at this extent. What happened is that people break, non-identified people break our office, vandalize the office, assaulted everything, took everything in the office. Like when I say everything, I say everything. I don't say that something was left behind. A part of document in paper, but everything was taken away, like desktop, laptop, flash disks, even document was taken away. So everything. And when they finished to take everything in the office, they vandalized that what they don't wanted to take. So at the end of the day, we lost everything. When I say everything, it's not just machines and this physical thing. We lost like 15 years of work. So today, if I want to, even the 2024 activity report is not possible for us because all the report, all the sheet, everything in the machine, we can't just have it because we lost everything. So we need to start by zero. Like we just the beginning, like we didn't do any work before. After this, the situation is not getting better because like 2 weeks now or 3, we face another attack on our website where we lose access to the website. And, the situation is difficult because I'm also facing, the situation with the closing of projects of funding by Trump administration. So we just have a notice of a project termination that we just started. And we have to wrap up something that we just started and with a lot of engagement on the field. So it's like you start something, people are waiting and waiting, and then you wake up in the morning and you have to say that it's closed. So yes, that situation is it's difficult, but we keep we are still going. We keep do what we are doing because of the passion we put inside. Because we are not employees, we are activists. We do this work because we have a vision. We have something we want to contribute. I feel, satisfied when I had a case like this, when I handle a case like this. That's it. I mean, I think that is what keep us really alive and what keep us continue to do this work because I myself, as I said, I have, a sufficient background to have a post anywhere I want to do, to go, But I feel like I want to stay here. I want to continue what I started. People need us here. I'm needed here, not elsewhere. So I need to do this because if we all of us we go United Nations, United States, United this, who is going to do this work for income? So yes, it's not easy. At this time around, it's really getting really difficult.
Cyrille, my heart goes out to you, and I'm sure that many of the audience members who are listening to this feel the same. Not only was the offices physically attacked and literally everything was taken or destroyed, did you say 3 weeks later, there was a cyber attack that completely brought down their website? And then, in
Yes.
addition to this, could you share with the audience the response regarding any type of investigation around this?
No response. After the attack, we filed 2 complaints. One complaint at the police station, another complaint the gendarmerie, because in Cameroon, in the primary investigation for judicial for criminal affairs, you have two units, 2 offices you can handle. You have police and gendarmerie. It's like in France, yes, system. So we filed the 2 complaints, but since now we don't have any information, even a call to say, hey, how are you there? No, we don't have nothing. Although we still face threat from the authorities, because they issue letters or a list, like last week, or yes, 2 weeks last week, yeah, they issue a letter where they make a list for just 100 organization or 50, something like that, saying that many organizations, human rights organizations, don't have rights to get funding. And as you can imagine, we are part of of those organizations who are not that they think that we do a lot of noise, so they don't want to see us, to let us continue. So the situation, the environment is not good. They are the one to to have, or maybe statement, or to publicly articulate about this threat or the situation. But no, they are continue to put threats, to say that they will criminalize, they will do this. They don't want us to work and to do anything they don't want. So the situation is still very tense and difficult.
Cyrille, one of the things too that I commend you for is your ability to be so strong. And this has only happened months. You know what I mean? This happened this year. And yet you're sitting back in the office. I know that, excuse me, that you and your team took some time off to step away from all of that. And let me ask you, I'm pretty sure a lot of audience members are thinking this. What currently is giving you strength right now to actually step back into that office and continue on, especially having to rebuild from almost ground zero,
Yes. We have the support of the community. Really, sometimes I was discouraged. I was really tired to continue the work. I was really tired. I just wanted to say, look, give me peace. I want to just to have peace. But the kind of messages I receive from people give me hope. And you know how you can get out of anger by smiling, like starting to laugh because of a message. That was really important for us. So we had we took a break as a team, but I invite my colleague in my house one day for a dinner, and then we realized how much we were passionate about the like, do we need to stay to rest again? They were like, no, we need to start our work. We want to go to the office. I was like, so are you sure? They said, yes, we need to go back. We can't just stay in our house. We can't just stay home. And by staying home, we will give reason to those who attack us. We need to show them that they take everything else, but they didn't take our brain. They didn't take our motivation. They didn't take our passion. They didn't take our heart on what we are doing, because we are not employees. We are militant. We are activists. We do this because we find something else. We were not just here for for money or for something specific. So that is all this message was like, yeah, you just need to start again, even. And then the next day, we got in the office, we start to clean up everywhere, and we say, okay, let's do something here. And then we just start like this in the same office. We still have the doors that was not changed. We just try to to make some small arrangement. Even doors are still break. We don't close, like the door of my office can't close because the door was break. So we just leave everything. We close the main door outside, and we are there doing what we can do while looking for support for years for to recovery, yeah, to do what we can do, yeah.
I send you, of course, my best in terms of wishes, but we're going to help rebuild together. And that's why I do feel that I was divinely guided to all of you women of agents, because I think that we're going to bond together. We're going to create bonds worldwide and help each other rebuild. And I commend you for taking post in your place and never backing down. That's what you are. That's what we all are, militants and activists. And you showed that the community support and the love that comes through is what carries you and keeps you going. Because obviously you're not going to back down. The authorities are not helping you. But could you share to me, Cyrille, what solidarity looks like and feels like on the ground? Like in your immediate area, you obviously have come across some heavy work in the cases that you do, but on the other side of that, you see what the community does and what keeps you inspired. What does solidarity look like for you?
From the community, what we received mainly was nothing than, like, I can sum it in one sentence, was never give up. We need you. And so when you face threats and you're about to abandon and you see this kind of message and you see how you give like more than 15 years of your life in something, I mean, you have the sense that you did something good. You feel, yeah, you feel some kind of satisfaction, like, even though I'm facing this, because yes, as a frontline leaders in this hard topic, I knew that I'm putting myself, in a situation where I can face threat. But sometimes it's like, if something happened, do I have any support? What will happen? But when you see all this, even from people who you think that they are not allies, they send you message saying, I heard about this attack in your office. Please be safe, take care of you. I was like, whoa, yeah, good. So this is important. Sometimes, and you really feel like, yes, this Cameroon, this country, our contribution, people knows what we are doing and they trust us. You find way to find trust, and you realize at which point you can't just take the threat, because the threat, you realize that the threat is coming from some people, not the whole people, not like Cameroon or people are against you, but there are some people there working to avoid you to do what you want to do because it's against their personal and individual interests. You found out that general interests are somewhere, and this general interest still needs you and call upon you to do something and to stay strong. So for me, that was the first message. And then the support of international community. Really, I have many calls from many partners and organizations. Like, I was not even, sometimes I was like, I didn't know that this organization knows me. I was like, oh, okay. So you have, Open Society, you have Amnesty International, you have, I don't know, there are many of them just calling you. We just heard about this. what can we do to support. We share contact from this, from that. If they can give you or see something to help you, you have, people from EU, calling you everything. So that is also important. And how International Peace Bureau have this statement, strong statement, and all the work that the statement went around, and I have really a lot of of support. Like, we are together. So this solidarity, it was really important, because when people were just sharing, you see this, and this is also a way of pressure on this regime. How they see how people can mobilize around you, it's important, and people show up, like everywhere. IPB, we have the Indigenous Network, we have others organizations that stood up and say no, stop this and protect human rights defender in Cameroon, was really great, and this also really helped in stabilizing, or maybe to limit it, how authority were going. I am American number. I talked to officials here who called me on their own. I didn't call nobody, but they called me, come for a meeting. We need to know more what happened. What are you doing? Are you safe? What about your children? I mean, even though they didn't give me really like what I wanted at this right time, I was like, give me machine, give me need. I need to start again my work. But it was important, to know that you have this support. And I mean, it was really important. And I want to use this opportunity to thank everybody, what everybody will contribute to this. It was really, really helpful in the context we are now. I really love it and appreciate, yes, this solidarity.
Cyrille, it really warms my heart to really see the unity that happens amongst not only your local community, but the organizations. And the reason that happens is because you also show up for them too, Cyrille. You not only show up for the people of Cameroon, but the global organizations. And we're seeing this sense of unity coming together right now on the planet, across the world. Many people are speaking their voice. And that's even why the International Peace Bureau came forward and contacted me about bringing this podcast series forward.
Yeah.
And I was on board and all in. So what I'm going to do too, Cyrille, so that the audience members can actually read more about the attacks that happened at the beginning of the year, and maybe if they feel called to maybe donate or provide any resources, I'm going to link that all into the description box, including International Peace Bureau's article in support of the organization, and not to, their expression on what has happened with the attacks. But, this has been an incredible podcast episode. And I do have a few things that I want to ask you in closing. What is your vision for Cameroon outside and beyond the political change?
Yeah. I dream of a new Cameroon. I dream for a new country, a new Cameroon, where living conditions are better, where basic and primary needs are met, and where women and girls have taken power in all sectors of the life. I think we just need this minimum in this country.
It's a beautiful beautiful vision, and I'm going to hold that vision for you in Cameroon. And if you could speak directly to the young women in Cameroon, beyond who you want to fight for justice, but feel afraid, what would you tell them?
To young people, to young girls who want to get involved, I would say my head, my heart, my hands are open. We have been able to achieve, but we are ready I am ready to support them because there is place for everybody in this fight. Is our fight. It's not others. It's the fight for our life. It's a fight for our family. It's a fight for our place. It's a fight for our opinion. It's our fight. It's not somebody else. So for me, I extend to them the will, to do something. I call upon them to engage in this fight. There's not just adversity in human rights. I want to say it's true that we just talk about, threats and everything, but there's not just adversity. There's satisfaction in human rights. There is something good to be, directly with community, to have the impression that you are having direct change on somebody's life. It's important. You can't have too much money to be paid for that, because the satisfaction is very, very high that even a paid job will not give you. So I think there's something very good to get out of human rights work. I call upon them to forget about adversity. There's nothing without adversity, but
Right.
it is something. Yeah, there's better thing around human rights, and I think everybody would love to know that she made something somewhere in the situation we are in. When you see France, when you see US, the change didn't come like by magic. People died for that. People fight for that. People, make a lot of sacrifices to have these changes in those countries. So we need to think about it. I want to touch them that I'm ready. There's a lot of space, and we are ready to share what we know, to give them strength to do this work, because it's our work, it's our country. There's no way to go. And look at me, myself, I don't go anywhere. Maybe I will find a way to secure my children somewhere so that they can grow. But my place is here, and I'm calling for them to join me in this fight.
That was beautiful, Cyrille. Obviously, I saw. Thank you for opening your heart. I could see it as you were getting emotional for your vision of Cameroon, and we are going to see that. I'm going to make sure that we all unite as humanity, and one day, many of this global community will get to visit Cameroon with
Yeah.
where your vision lies.
Yeah. I
So
hope so.
I love the beautiful smile on your face, and that's what brings me joy when I do these podcasts, to be able to share the beauty of these women, not only insight, but through their intelligence, through their fight for justice, to build peace. And so it's an honor to have had you on this podcast series. I hope that this is not only, that this just becomes one of many where you get to actually share your message with the world. And I'd love to find myself in Cameroon one day to visit you and give you a hug, Cyrille.
Yeah, I would love to receive you. Look, there is authoritarian regime, but Cameroon is a good country. You will eat a lot of food, a lot of good weather. You will be oof. We have everything. We have dishes. We have so many things to see. So please plan to come in Cameroon.
Yes, I would love to. And I'm pretty sure that this invitation extends out to everyone around the world.
Yes.
If,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
if any of you plan to visit Cameroon, please contact Cyrille. I
Call me.
know that she would
Yes.
welcome you. She's now going to be a part of the tourism department. This went from human rights, justice into tourism.
Yeah, that would be very good. The yellow soup.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the yellow soup, we have the green soup, we have too many good food. I told you. Woo! Just
Wow. You know, you're you're tempting me. I might actually go and see if I can find some Cameroon food here in Los Angeles.
yes, yellow soup and ashu. This is pound yam. You have dole, what we call dole is a bitter leaf, very good. You have ero. this is Anglophone food, but nationally known. You have, oh my God, you have too many food.
I love this. Audience, we never planned this part of the podcast, but now you're giving me ideas because I want everyone to feel invited to their countries. And you have done an exceptional job at the podcast today in delivering the message from Cameroon. We are all going to unite together one day. Thank you, sister, for being on this podcast series. On behalf of the International Peace Bureau and 8 Billion Podcast, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in today in this special series featuring Cyrille Rolande Bechon.